Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're in 2022 officially. I am feeling really positive and I just have a good feeling about this year. I thought it'd be a really nice way to start the year and doing a video on kind of New Year's resolutions, resetting for 2022, setting some goals. And I thought there's no better way to do this than just to talk you through my goals, how I set them, and how I try to hold myself accountable to just achieving them. Firstly, I do agree with the fact that there is no right time to set a goal. You don't necessarily need a new year to decide that you want to achieve X, Y, and Z, and you don't need to wait till the new year to do it. But I do personally really like the idea of just taking the end of the year and the start of a new one, just really reflect upon some short-term goals, some medium and some long-term goals, to just assess where I'm at with them, because I feel like it just helps me to add some structure in my life, to add some purpose. I'm personally someone that really thrives off setting goals and I'm quite determined to achieve them, so setting these sorts of goals really helps me. I also think the whole concept of new year, new me is bullshit. Sorry for swearing. I don't think you constantly have to change who you are every single year. You don't need a personality reset. You need a new year and a better you. You just need to develop on the you that already exists. Okay, so let's talk about setting goals. The way I like to look at it is dividing my life up into different categories of things that I believe are important to me and key sort of pillars of value and happiness in my life. So I've got my phone up and I'm literally just going to be breaking down exactly those categories, because I feel like this is quite a nice way to give you guys some ideas on how to set your goals, and you can use this as a template or a basis to set your goals. The first one is career. So this could be something like getting a new job, moving into a new industry, focusing on a promotion or a pay rise. I think career, especially if you have a full-time job like I do, is such a big part of your life because you spend quite literally half your day doing it. So I think it's important to reflect upon your career and where you want to go with it. The next category I have is relationships. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It can be relationships with your friends, relationships with your family. Do you want to focus on the relationships you already have? Do you want to make some new connections? And I think relationships is such a big and important aspect of life and something that can bring you so much happiness. Next up, I have financial goals. Now, this can literally be anything, and I think it's really important to reflect upon what works for you. It could be some savings goals you have, investing goals, property goals, even just things like your spending habits. It can be something really small and little targets you're setting for yourself every month, but financial is a really important thing I think to track, and I know it can add a bit of anxiety and a bit of stress and pressure if they're constantly on your mind, but I do think self-reflecting upon your financial situation is what will help you to not get stressed out in the long term. Then we have things like health. We have physical health, and that's whether you want to take up a new sport, you want to get into a good gym routine, you want to start a specific diet. And I don't encourage any quick and easy fixed diets. I mean long-term healthy habits. You might want to cut out alcohol, reduce your shisha intake, for example. And then we have things like mental health. This is obviously a really, really important one, and there's so many things that come under this, and obviously I think it really depends on each individual. But just to give you some ideas of mental health, it could be journaling, going to therapy, focusing more on being in the present, focusing on things like detachment, so many different things that come under mental health. And the last one I wanted to add is hobbies, passions and side hustles. So I've added that in for this year, and that could be things like your social media, starting a new hobby, focusing on starting a business. Now I want to get into specifically my goals and my New Year's resolution. It's quite a personal thing for me to be doing, opening up about my own particular New Year's resolutions. However, it might be quite nice to see mine because it can give you some real life examples and how I apply it to my life. And sometimes you need to see tangible resolutions and people actually achieving them to give you a bit of a push into achieving yours. So in my notes app in my iPhone, I have a specific note that is called New Year's resolution, and I actually keep mine. So I started doing this in 2020, and then I have my 2021 and 2022, and I quite like having the past ones because it reminds me of everything I achieved. I thought some of these things were so far out of reach, but I achieved them. It's such a nice way of like celebrating your own wins. So I'll talk you through my 2020 ones. There aren't that many because I used to just stick to 5 key goals. So the way I do it is, out of the categories I mentioned, I then just focus on one goal for each category. That means I don't get so overwhelmed with having loads of different goals. It keeps it realistic, and actually I can achieve all 5 of them. And it just gives me like key focal points for the year. So the first one is getting back to sport. So in 2020, right at the end of 2019, I actually had a grade 3 ligament tear in my right ankle, which not a lot of people know about. So I was in one of those like ski boots literally for 3 months. I was completely out of sport. So for me, a big thing was to get back into sport, focus on my rehab and gym. Really ironic because here we are again. The second one was to complete my ACA exams, and I achieved that too. The third one was to focus on my Instagram. And 2020 was obviously in the year that COVID happened, so I had so much more time and capacity to do that. Now that one is something that isn't just a, yep, I've achieved it, done. It's one of those things that is literally going to be ongoing for the foreseeable future. Now the fourth one and the fifth one I haven't ticked because, to be honest, I haven't fully achieved them the way I'd like to. So I've actually carried them over to 2021. But number 4 was having a spending ban. That was basically me wanting to be way more conscious as a consumer, not buying things irrationally, not bulk buying things. I really wanted to focus on what I was spending my money on. I definitely did it, but I didn't do it consistently, and I want to make sure it's like an ingrained habit. So that's why I haven't fully achieved it yet, because I'm still working on that. And then number 5, which, oh my God, if anyone here is my friend or watching this will know, I'm really trying with this one, but I've been trying since 2020 and we're now in 2022, but it's to give up alcohol. I haven't really spoken about this much on my channel. I've spoken about it in a vlog, I think once, but I really, really want to permanently give up alcohol. I think it's a waste of money and I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't like the taste. I especially don't like the hangovers. So it's a process. Every single year I've definitely been drinking less and less, which is so good. But I do want to get to a point where I can happily go out clubbing, to bars, dates, and not need to drink. And I'm not there yet, I'll openly admit that. But I'm working on it. And then moving on to 2022, so I wanted to focus on my career, and I moved out of audit. I moved into a completely different industry at another Big 4. I've got a whole video on that. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. But I got a new job, and that was a really big win for me. I think that was probably one of the key priorities I wanted for 2021, and I achieved that. Then I also wanted to focus on my Instagram growth, specifically working with a wider audience and more well-known brands. 100% did that, and I think I actually really exceeded that one, so I'm really proud of myself for that. On top of that, I've started my YouTube channel and I've gained over 50,000 followers on TikTok, so even though that wasn't a goal of mine, I've achieved it and I'm so happy I have. The third one I wanted to focus on, which is actually a really specific goal, is focusing on more sustainable fashion. So I started a second Instagram account called Tagged by Tanvi, where I started selling my clothes. I wanted to start recycling my clothes, and it did really well, and I was so good for like maybe 2-3 months, but I've completely slacked on that one. So I'm carrying over that one for next year, and to get back into the gym and get a good routine. I haven't ticked it because I feel like with COVID lockdowns, it just literally prevented me from getting into a good routine. And obviously I tore my ACL last year, so I'm allowed to give myself a little exception for that one. And then I'm going to talk about my ones that I've set for this year. I don't want to jinx myself, but at the end of the day, I do want to be completely open and transparent with you guys about where my head's at and what I want to achieve. And also I think it'll be quite nice to look back on this time next year if I make a similar video. So at number 1, I want to focus on my career in 2022. I feel like working from home, lockdown, starting a new job completely in isolation, the second half of the year I haven't been able to put as much focus on my career as I'd like. So that's something I really, really want to focus on. I don't know what I want to do in terms of my career, but I just know I want to really focus on it, whether it's getting a promotion, changing job, moving out of the Big 4, working abroad potentially. These are the sorts of things I'm thinking. Again, I don't know if it will happen within the year, but I want to definitely put in the work and take the right steps to achieving it in the near future. The second one is my social media, and now I wanted to do like a really specific goal on here, but I do want to consider signing to a modelling agency or a management company to look at my PR side of things, because I think it's getting to a point where I'm going to get more senior at work and I don't know if I can physically handle all the admin side of it. So that's something I definitely want to look into, but I'm really cautious of management companies. I know some people have had some really horrible experiences and I want to make sure it's to the right one. So I won't sign with anyone who I don't think is the right fit for me. but it's definitely something I want to consider. The third one is obviously my physical health and sport. I want to get back into netball. I obviously had my surgery in September. It's a 12-month recovery, so I'm looking to get back into netball by the end of the year. That is literally the goal that's closest to my heart and is going to mean the most to me. So fingers crossed and pray for me that I can achieve that one. The fourth one is actually in terms of relationships. Now, I'm really happy with the relationships I've made in terms of friends and family, and to be honest, I don't feel like I need to do much more other than what I'm already doing, which is maintaining them. I want to maybe focus now on finding a long-term healthy relationship, and I think up till this point I have been so focused on myself, which I don't think is a bad thing, but really figuring out what I want, who I am as a person, and I've come to quite a nice place with all of that I think I'm ready to find a long-term happy relationship. Maybe this time next year I might have a boyfriend. At number 5, I want to focus on making some forever memories. I've got some really special moments coming up this year. 1 being my brother's wedding, 2 being a big birthday, 3, I want to go on some really memorable holidays. I really want to focus on being in the present for those things. It's so easy to be there in those moments and think about content and taking pictures and not actually enjoying the moments. So I want to make those memories that are going to last forever and being really present in them, and that's a really big one for me this year. At number 6, I've got a focus on a financial goal, and I'm not going to go into that one because I just think there's things when it comes to personal finance that I'm not ready to share yet, and I don't want to jinx it. And then the last but not least, we have alcohol. Alcohol ban. So again, I really just want to focus on my spending, my alcohol consumption, and I honestly think that this year could be the year that I achieve it. So those are my goals for this year. Those have been my goals that I've achieved for the last 2 years, and I think that's just a nice way to open up to you guys about how I'm being realistic and holding myself accountable too. And the last thing I wanted to say, especially given like the current circumstances of COVID and being in and out of lockdowns for the last 2 years, it's also okay to achieve the bare minimum. And when I say the bare minimum, I just say literally waking up every day and like having a shower, eating 3 meals a day, getting enough sleep and drinking water. So don't be too hard on yourself. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Give it a like if you found it useful, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Lots of love. Bye.